Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under the—
The controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler and Disney's Snow White remake has taken on a life of its own, fueled most recently by South Park's brutal satire and a tidal wave of public backlash. The deepening crisis for Disney is laid bare in hilarious, scathing detail. What was once a bold reimagining of a cherished classic has become a cautionary tale in virtue signaling, celebrity overexposure, and the consequences of ignoring your audience. The mockery from South Park was only the match. The fuel had been building for months as Rachel Zegler continued her string of baffling interviews and dismissive remarks about the original Snow White. From calling the prince a stalker to declaring the love story weird.
Boxer. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Zegler projected a persona that didn't just want to retell the story, she wanted to dismantle it. She seemed to view the role not as a legacy to honor, but as a vehicle to deliver a new message of self-rescue.
Please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything! But Kathleen Kennedy is all like, put another gay diverse woman in it, make it more f***ing lit!
Girl boss feminism, and anti-romantic ideology. That might have worked in a different film. But Snow White is one of Disney's most sacred properties, and the more she pushed that message, the more fans turned away. Then came the visuals. Disney didn't just reimagine the narrative, it stripped out almost every recognizable element. Gone were the dwarfs, replaced by awkward, low-budget-looking CGI creatures. The prince? Barely a footnote. The romantic arc? Erased. Instead, Snow White's updated anthem, Waiting on a Wish, replaced the beloved, Someday My Prince Will Come, further separating the remake from its magical origins. Audiences were no longer watching a retelling. They were watching a dismantling. This is exactly the landscape.
And very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalked.
South Park stepped into with its Panderverse special. The show skewered not only Zegler, but the entire Hollywood machine behind her. They portrayed a world where every character, like Cartman, Indiana Jones, and even Bambi, was gender-swapped and race-swapped, not out of story necessity, but to check corporate diversity boxes. Eric Cartman wakes up replaced by a black woman, and flips out, only to be scolded by the adults around him who mockingly suggest he's the real problem. It was a satirical mirror to the very conversations dominating Twitter, Reddit, and film YouTube, conversations Disney seemed intent on ignoring. As if the satire weren't enough, South Park even took aim at Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilm and often blamed by fans for the direction of recent Star Wars failures. Her parody version, barking out orders to remake Bambi with a gay chicken and a rewritten plot, perfectly encapsulated what many felt Disney had done with Snow White. Inject modern politics into places where audiences wanted timeless storytelling.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to...
Rachel Zegler didn't respond to South Park, but she didn't have to. The internet did it for her. Her past comments were resurfaced in droves, particularly one interview where she sarcastically said all of co-star Andrew Burnap's scenes might get cut. "It's Hollywood, baby," she shrugged. That soundbite, combined with the meme of her sitting in an almost empty theater watching the movie on opening night, became the symbol of the film's total collapse. Yes, that actually happened. On opening weekend, Zegler and a few friends went to watch Snow White in a nearly deserted theater. A now viral Instagram story captured her awkward cheer when her name appeared in the credits, laughing and clapping with forced enthusiasm while sitting among rows of empty seats. She clutched a bouquet of flowers, reportedly from friends, not the studio, and tried to make the best of the situation. But no matter how you frame it, the image was damning. For a movie that cost $250 million, the turnout was nothing short of catastrophic. By Monday morning, the numbers told the story Disney didn't want told. $3.5 million in Thursday previews, a mere $43 million on opening week.
She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. Cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's...
Weekend. Lower than Dumbo, lower than Lightyear, lower than anyone had expected. And given its marketing budget and reshoots, it was a financial disaster of historic proportions. Critics called it Snow White and the Seven Flops. Twitter feeds were full of empty theater screenshots and brutal memes. One user quipped, Someone start a GoFundMe for Disney. They need it more than Rachel does. Adding insult to injury, an old clip resurfaced where a much younger Zegler looked into the camera and proclaimed that she hoped people would wait in line for her movies, despite her flaws, her cracks, and her breaks. The juxtaposition between that hopeful statement and the reality of her barren premiere screening was too on the nose to ignore. Influencers reposted the clip with captions like, "Reality check, princess," and "There's no line at the box office, just receipts."
Kennedy is down on set right now, ruining the new Bambi movie.
Put a diverse woman in it. Make it lit.
Even mainstream outlets like Variety and the Daily Mail piled on. Variety criticized Ziegler's tone-deaf interviews. The Daily Mail blasted her entire press run as a woke tirade. One editor from City AM described her comments about the original movie as cinematic heresy. And perhaps most pointedly, they noted that while The Little Mermaid also faced backlash over casting, it stayed true to the emotional core of the story. Snow White, on the other hand, was almost unrecognizable, stripped of charm, heart, and narrative identity. At this point, Disney's silence was deafening. Instead of leaning into their promotional machine, they opted for stealth mode, the red eye.
Oh my God. Okay. Mom, I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah.
Carpet premiere was canceled. Instead, a hushed, invite-only screening was held at El Capitan Theater. The European debut took place not in London, but in a quiet Spanish castle, the same one that inspired the animated film. It felt less like a celebration and more like an apology. Disney quietly hoped the backlash would fade, but the internet had other plans. All this chaos has prompted a serious question. Is this just a bump in the road for Disney, or the sign of a deeper shift? Studios can no longer assume that a recognizable IP will guarantee box office success. Audiences want respect for source material, not lectures or brand activism. They want to see characters they love preserved, not turned into vehicles for corporate messaging. And they definitely don't want to be scolded by stars who seem to dislike the very roles they're paid to portray. For Rachel Zegler, the road to redemption will be steep. Once hailed as a rising star, she's now facing major career uncertainty. Reports suggest that she's been quietly removed from promotional cycles and possible sequels. She may yet recover, but only with a rebrand, and likely some humility. As for Disney, they may have learned the hard way that magic doesn't come from checklists or buzzwords. It comes from sincerity, craft, and respect for the stories that built their empire in the first place. So, what do you think? Was South Park right to roast Disney and Rachel Zegler? Can the studio course correct, or has the magic officially run dry? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're into real Hollywood breakdowns with zero sugarcoating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because in this story, not every princess gets a happy ending.